Before I answer the question in the title, I want to ask you a different one. There is a specific kind of knowing that arrives before the explanation does, before the reason, before the evidence. Something in you registers a truth, and the mind catches up later, sometimes hours later, sometimes years. You have felt this, not as intuition in the vague sense, as something more precise than that. A signal. Clean, specific, arriving from a direction you cannot point to. And the interesting thing about it is that it does not feel like imagination. It feels like reception, like you picked up something that was already there, already broadcasting, and your system was calibrated just precisely enough to catch it. Most people around you do not catch it, not because they are less intelligent, because their instrument is tuned differently, and you have probably spent some portion of your life wondering whether that difference means something, or whether you have simply been reading too much into things. It means something. If there is a yes somewhere in your body right now, rather than just in your mind, then you already have your answer to the question in the title. But I want to go deeper than yes or no today, because the 1% who can feel this quantum frequency are not special in the way that word usually means. They are not chosen in the sense of being favored. They are tuned. They have, through a combination of what they have lived through and what they have refused to stop paying attention to, arrived at a state of internal sensitivity that allows them to register something the majority of nervous systems have learned to filter out. And today I want to explain exactly what that something is, what frequency it operates at, why most people cannot feel it, and what it means that you can. Stay until the end of this video. I mean that more specifically than it usually gets said. There is something at the end, a practice, that only makes sense after everything that comes before it. And if what I am about to say is true, and I believe it is, the practice is not optional for the person this video is actually for. Everything vibrates, not as a spiritual affirmation, as physics. Every atom in existence is in constant motion. Every particle oscillates. Every system, from the smallest quantum field to the largest structure in the cosmos, has a frequency, a rate of oscillation that defines how it interacts with other systems, what it can receive, what it can transmit, and what simply passes through it without leaving a trace. The human body is not an exception to this. It is one of the most complex oscillating systems in the known universe. The heart alone generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet outside the body in every direction, measurable with precision instruments, pulsing at frequencies that change depending on the internal state of the person generating them. When that internal state is coherent, when the systems are synchronized rather than competing, the frequency the body generates sits in a specific range, around 0.1 Hz in the heart rate variability pattern. This is not a number I am offering as mysticism. It is the frequency that appears consistently in states of deep presence, genuine compassion, and what researchers describe as optimal physiological function. But beneath that, at the level where the quantum field operates, something else is happening. The quantum vacuum, the ground state of the field that underlies all physical reality, is not silent. It is alive with zero-point energy, fluctuating at frequencies so high they are measured in the petahertz range, above 10 to the power of 15 cycles per second. This is the baseline hum of existence itself, the frequency of the field before anything specific emerges from it. What I find most interesting, and I have sat with this for a long time, is the relationship between these two scales. The slow, coherent pulse of a human nervous system in its most aligned state, and the incomprehensibly fast oscillation of the quantum vacuum beneath it. They are not separate. They are nested. The human frequency is a pattern riding on top of the field frequency the way a wave rides on top of an ocean. And when a human system becomes coherent enough, something in that nesting changes. The relationship between the pattern and the ocean becomes more precise. The signal becomes cleaner, and the person carrying that signal starts to register things that a less coherent system simply cannot pick up. Write in the comments right now before we go further. Have you always been more sensitive to frequencies, energies, atmospheres than the people around you? Just yes or no. Because the answer to that question matters for everything that comes after it. The nervous system is a filter, not a passive receiver. An active filter that was shaped by millions of years of evolution to prioritize specific kinds of signals and suppress others. The signals that get through are the ones that matter for survival. Threat, food, social connection, physical danger. These are loud, urgent, and immediately actionable. The quantum frequency is none of those things. It is subtle. It does not carry threat or reward in the immediate biological sense. It does not trigger the systems that evolution spent the most time reinforcing. And so for most nervous systems, it gets treated as noise, filed under irrelevant, filtered before it reaches conscious awareness. This is not a failure of those nervous systems. It is an optimization. The filter is working exactly as designed, but the filter is not fixed. It is calibrated, and the calibration changes based on what the system has experienced, what it has been repeatedly exposed to, and crucially, what it has been willing to remain open to, even when nothing in the immediate environment rewarded that openness. Someone who has spent years in environments that punish sensitivity, that reward only the loudest and most externally measurable signals, develops a filter calibrated so tight that the subtle frequencies simply never arrive, not because the frequencies are not there, because the instrument has been tuned away from them. Someone who has spent time in stillness, in genuine inner work, in the practice of paying attention to what arrives below the threshold of urgency, gradually recalibrates the filter. The sensitivity increases, and signals that were always present in the field begin to register. The 1% who can feel this frequency did not receive a different signal. They developed a different instrument. And the fact that you are here, that this title pulled at something specific in you, that you are still watching this far in, is itself data about the state of your instrument. Let me get specific about what the frequency actually feels like from the inside, because I think this is where most conversations about quantum frequency stay too abstract to be useful. There are measurable frequency ranges associated with specific states of human consciousness. These are not metaphors. They show up in brainwave measurements with consistency across people and across cultures. Delta between 0.5 and 4 Hertz is the frequency of deep, dreamless sleep. The body in its most restorative state, consciousness largely withdrawn from external processing. Theta, between 4 and 8 Hertz, is where things start to get interesting. This is the frequency of the hypnagogic state, the threshold between waking and sleep, of deep meditation, of the moments just before and just after sleep, where the filter is at its loosest, and imagery, insight, and what many people describe as contact with something larger then ordinary waking consciousness becomes available. Shamanic traditions across cultures have independently arrived at practices that induce theta states, not because they knew the hertz, because they knew what became accessible there. Alpha, between 8 and 12 hertz, is the frequency of relaxed but wakeful awareness, the state where the inner critic quiets and creativity flows, where the gap between a thought and its expression closes, where people most often report feeling in the zone, present, themselves. Gamma, between 30 and 100 hertz and sometimes higher, is the frequency associated with peak states of consciousness, moments of profound insight, deep compassion, and what researchers studying experienced meditators describe as non-ordinary awareness. The Tibetan monks whose brains were measured during specific meditation practices showed gamma activity at levels and in patterns that had never been recorded before in ordinary subjects. Now here is what I think the quantum frequency actually is in experiential terms. It is not a single hertz value. It is a state of coherence across multiple frequencies simultaneously, where the delta rest, the theta openness, the alpha presence, and the gamma clarity are not competing, but nested, each one running cleanly without suppressing the others. The whole system in a state of ordered resonance. That is what the 1% feel. Not a special signal from outside. Their own system running without internal interference. And that state, once you have touched it even briefly, is unmistakable. It feels like coming home to a version of yourself that was always there, but was previously buried under the noise of a system that was not yet coherent enough to access it. I have felt this, not continuously, not on demand, but enough times and with enough consistency to know exactly what I am describing and to know that it is real in a way that has nothing to do with belief. When a human system begins to operate consistently in this coherent frequency range, the changes are not subtle. The first thing that changes is perception, not what you see, but the resolution at which you see it. Details that were always present, but below the threshold of notice, begin to register. The quality of a person's energy before they have said a word. The difference between what someone is saying and what they actually mean. The moment in a situation where everything is about to shift before it shifts. The subtle signals that the field has been sending that the filter was previously too tight to let through. The second thing that changes is decision-making. Not because you become smarter in the analytical sense, but because the information available to you expands. Decisions that used to require extensive deliberation because you were working with incomplete data start to come with a quality of knowing that precedes the reasoning, not blind intuition. Informed perception, operating at a frequency that includes data the analytical mind does not have access to. The third thing that changes is your effect on other people. A coherent system influences the systems around it. This is not metaphorical. Oscillating systems in proximity tend toward resonance, toward matching frequencies, a phenomenon called entrainment. When you are running a clean, coherent signal, people in your presence begin to regulate toward it without either of you doing anything intentional. They feel calmer, more present, more themselves. You become, without trying, an environment that other systems want to synchronize with. The fourth thing that changes is your relationship with time and effort. Things that previously required significant effort because you were working against your own internal fragmentation start to happen with a quality of flow. Not because the world became easier, because the friction was never between you and the world. It was between the different frequencies running inside you that were canceling each other out. When those frequencies align, the energy that was spent on internal conflict becomes available for everything else. Now, let's go to the highlighted comment of the day. This is a short one, but very important. My frequency brought me here today. I feel these words with such precision. That distinction matters more than it might seem. Understanding is cognitive. It happens in the mind processing information from the outside. Feeling with precision is something else. It is the body recognizing signal, the instrument registering a frequency it is calibrated to receive. And the word precision is what I find most interesting. Not I feel this vaguely, or I feel this emotionally. Precision. Like a tuning fork that has been struck and is now vibrating at exactly the frequency it was built for. That is what the quantum frequency feels like when it lands in a system that is calibrated to receive it. Not vague resonance, precise recognition. That is not the words landing in you. That is you recognizing what you already are. Write in the comments, I feel the frequency, only if it is true. Only if somewhere in this video something arrived not as information, but as recognition. Not the version you think sounds good, but the honest one. I want to be honest about the 1% framing because I think it can be misread. It is not an elite. It is not a hierarchy. It is not a claim that some people are more valuable or more spiritually advanced than others. It is a description of a distribution that exists in any population of any measurable characteristic. Most nervous systems, calibrated by the environments they developed in, the experiences they processed, the filters they built to survive those experiences, operate in a frequency range that does not register the quantum field as signal. Not because those nervous systems are inferior, because they optimized for different things. The filter that makes someone an extraordinary executor in a high-pressure environment is often the same filter that blocks sensitivity to subtle frequencies. The calibration that produces one kind of excellence tends to suppress another. The 1% who feel this frequency are not better. They are differently calibrated, and that calibration often came at a cost. Sensitivity at this level tends to arrive through periods of significant disruption, through loss that could not be processed quickly, through the kind of internal pressure that forces a system to either become more coherent or collapse entirely. Most people who can feel the quantum frequency have a version of the same story. Not identical, but recognizable. A period where the ordinary filters broke down and something underneath them became audible that has not gone fully silent since. The sensitivity is not a gift in the painless sense. It is a capacity that was forged in conditions that most nervous systems did not encounter, or encountered and moved away from as quickly as possible. If you are in this 1%, you know what I am describing. Not because I told you, because you remember the period that calibrated you this way. Before the exercise, 2 things. If this video named something you have been feeling without a framework for it, subscribe to this channel. This is the work I am here to do. Not inspiration. Precision, the kind of content that gives a name and a structure to what is already operating in you. And if you want to go deeper into navigating the transition that comes with this level of sensitivity, I put together the Quantum Transition Field Guide. 89 pages, built for someone whose internal frequency is shifting and who needs more than a concept to work with. The phases of the transition, what disrupts coherence and what supports it. A 30-day navigation protocol. The link is in the description at launch price right now. Now the exercise, and I meant what I said at the beginning. This is the part that only makes sense after everything that came before it. So if you made it here, this is for you. This practice takes 4 minutes. Do not do it while driving. Do it somewhere you can actually be still for 4 minutes. It has 3 phases, and each one corresponds to a frequency range we talked about. The first phase is 2 minutes. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes if that is accessible for you. And do one thing only. Breathe at a rate of approximately 6 breaths per minute. In for 5 seconds. Out for 5 seconds. This specific rhythm is not arbitrary. It is the breathing pattern that produces heart rate variability coherence at approximately 0.1 Hertz. The frequency of optimal physiological alignment. You are not relaxing. You are tuning the instrument. 2 minutes of this shifts the body from fragmented oscillation toward the coherent baseline. You will feel it, not as drama, as a quieting of the internal noise. The second phase is 1 minute. Keep the breathing, but shift your attention to the center of your chest. Not your mind, not your head, the chest. And generate, as specifically as you can, the feeling of gratitude or appreciation for something real. Not abstract gratitude, a specific person, a specific moment, a specific thing you actually value.
And if you're still here, still listening, then something inside you already knows. This wasn't just another video you randomly clicked. This was a signal, because the truth is, not everyone can feel this. Not everyone can sit in this silence and recognize the shift happening within them. Most people will scroll past this. They'll feel nothing. They'll go back to noise, distraction, and comfort. But you didn't. You felt something, a subtle pull, a quiet resonance. Like something deep inside you was being activated, and that's what separates the 1%. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's awareness. The ability to feel what can't be explained, to sense what others ignore, to recognize that reality is more than what you've been shown. Right now, you are tuning into a different frequency, and once you become aware of it, you can't go back. You'll start noticing patterns, energy shifts, moments that feel too aligned to be coincidence, and slowly, everything begins to change. Not outside first, but within you. The real question is, now that you've felt this, what are you going to do with it? Because awareness is just the beginning. What comes next is transformation.